happens.
That's gonna happen.
Oh no, wait. Started broadcasting. Okay, so now
Okay. You check YouTube.
internet.
I'll check your Twitch here. Hey! Hey, we're live, bro. I'll check your Twitch here.
Oh, we're live. I have my old thumbnail on. I need to figure that out. YouTube's cool, man. All right, are we live on Twitch?
I'm watching us on Twitch right now, dude. Except we're streaming Fortnite. It says last solo Fortnite stream. So
see, I don't know how to like on
that.
YouTube. On YouTube, it says like the last time we went live. It's the episode name. I don't know. I gotta figure that out. Whatever. I can change that later. What should I change on Twitch? Can I change it while I'm streaming?
Yes, you can. Oh God, I don't know what you're looking at, but you can go in and change the title, change the category we're in, and all that stuff.
Okay. We're gonna have a night where you come over and we do like an in-person live, and that'll be fun. And you can show me how to do all this.
Okay, it's super easy, yeah. So, but we also need you to have a computer that can handle it because we are dropping frames and buffering a lot in the stream right now on Twitch. Which, I mean, it is what it is. We're there, so that's the good news. So,
okay. I wonder if you hosted this.
So here's the other issue. Like technically, we're like breaching the terms of service. We cannot be in a false category. We should not be in Fortnite. We should be in podcasts. So, do you have any Twitch thing up right now to be able to change that? I could walk you through it real quick.
Okay, I'll pull up Twitch on my computer.
Okay.
As I go ever so slowly. Well, honestly, I wonder like if I just give you the login credentials to Veed, like my this interface is all set up already. You literally just hit go live.
Sure. But at this point, we're just gonna keep going with what we got here. So let me know when you're on Twitch and I can walk you through. It's gonna be super easy.
Yep, I'm opening Twitch now. Ever so slowly.
Okay, perfect. Wow, this looks way different than how it used to. I still have one subscriber.
Brushing off the dust.
Yeah, I haven't been here myself. All right, let me know when you're on like the homepage.
It's oh God, it's loading. All right, where do I go?
Okay, so towards the top right. Yeah, towards the top right, you should see your like little symbol, like your profile symbol. Click that.
Yep.
Okay, there should be a creator dashboard option.
All right, go into that.
Okay. Once you're there, on the like right side, there's a big purple button that says edit stream info.
Oh, okay. Hold on. It's going.
Click that. So I would change the title to something like first time, like testing things out, just like you can make it whatever you want. And then you're going to want to change the category. What do we want the category to be? Is there a podcast one?
All right. It says you're live at the top and then manage stream.
You don't have a big purple button that says edit stream info?
No. Oh, well, it was a big purple button. Maybe it's different. Or it's not. Shit. Hold on. Can you imagine like one person sitting in a basement somewhere watching this?
Yeah, that's the great thing about the internet.
So, okay, edit your stream info.
Okay, click that. Tell me what you see.
Oh yeah, it says title late solo Fortnite stream.
Okay, so change that to
no,
like first podcast on Twitch or whatever you want it to say. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Something relevant to what we're doing, or you could say talk about Obi-Wan, like whatever. That doesn't matter. That can be whatever you want it to be. What episode are we on? 20 something? 30? I don't know. 31? Yeah, you can say episode 31, whatever.
Okay.
Okay, and then once you're happy with that, you're going to look for the category button that's a couple below that.
Category.
You're just typing like podcast, and you should see something that pops up that says talk show.
Yep.
Yeah, talk show. Where the heck did it go? Talk shows and podcasts. So click that, and then click done, and we're Gucci.
Okay, cool. Obi-Wan Kenobi, John.
Cool. I've already see it's updated. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Johnny Depp wins, Elon Musk, talk shows and podcasts. We're good to go.
All right. Awesome. Okay.
I'm going to start recording on my end here.
Okay, and I'm unmuted.
You are unmuted. And we're good. You ready?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I just like to do the thing where I'll just naturally fade in at some point, and I'll just start the stream at some point, so there's less pressure. I'll say welcome to Next Round on Me at some point.
Cool. So do I get to talk about what I want to talk about before we get into everything?
Okay. All right. So Josh, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Wait, let me do it one more time. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Josh has some words for everyone before we get started today. He wanted to clarify some things. Josh, what did you want to say to the audience?
Yes. So, first off, I want to specify that I am not some narcissistic person here that goes and listens to our podcast after you post it because I enjoy hearing myself talk. I went back and listened to our latest podcast simply for audio purposes. You know, I'm very particular with how our audio sounds. I wanted to make sure it sounded good. And so I was listening to our last podcast after you had posted it, and I couldn't help but think if somebody was listening and they've never heard me talk before, I came off trying to talk about some of the recent issues, the recent shootings, and I did not sound, I don't know if there's any nice way. I sounded racist to me, and I didn't mean to at all. What the word that I was looking for that I was unable to find last week was motive. Okay, that was the word that I was missing. So real quickly, I want to clarify. I can understand the motive, that there's a classification of it, right? I promise I'm going to make this better. I was struggling because I understand, all right, that there's a motive. It's a racist motive in the shooting that happened in Buffalo, right? I don't know. I was struggling to understand what the quote motive was for the recent one in Texas. I wasn't trying to say that I understand and thinks it's okay about what happened in Texas. It's simply that the motive was beyond my understanding. Like there's no profile or, category in my head on the shooting that took place in the school with the younglings in the Texas shooting, where it's easier to classify the one that happened in Buffalo. So I want to apologize to anybody who listened to that podcast, and I came off very insensitive, I did not display my feelings and thoughts correctly. So I apologize, and I just wanted to clarify that I am not a racist person. I am not okay with any of these shootings, and I apologize if it came off that way. And that's it. That's all I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, and while we're at it, I would just like to apologize myself
Uh-oh.
for some of the things I've done. I just for
Okay.
everyone listening, I feel like I need to clarify some things as well. I did not mean to videotape that dead body in the forest. I was completely wrong. I was just doing it for
Okay.
clicks.
All right,
And
dude. Okay. All right. Listen, I'm being sincere here.
No,
All
I know.
right.
I'm just kidding. I know.
Oh my
We've
gosh.
done this. We've
Can
done
I
this
just
only
say
a few
though
times,
that yeah, I mean,
and you're already doing an apology.
yeah,
But I
honestly, right?
appreciate it.
It's crazy, dude. You see, I mean, I'm just trying to not get canceled right away here, and and couldn't help. I was cringing listening to myself in
No, you
that
sounded
last
fine.
podcast, and I was just like, "Yikes! I need to explain." But anyway, I'm so happy about today's podcast that we don't have to talk about all of the sad and depressing stuff that's happening in the world. We're gonna talk about stuff that's exciting. I'm excited. I don't want to give any spoilers because I want to leave it to you. But yes, I'm excited for today.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get into welcome to Next Round on Me podcast, everyone. Now that we
Welcome.
have all the apologies out of the way, we we are live on Twitch tonight. We're trying to go live on Twitch as we're recording this. We're live on YouTube as well. So hopefully we're getting those channels up a little bit. Some technical difficulties have been preventing us from doing that in the past. So yeah, hopefully we're gonna get those up and running for future episodes. I'll throw up the link on the Instagram at Next Round on Me Pod. You can go and follow and find out when we're gonna be live, usually every Thursday night. So look out for that if you want to look at our beautiful faces. So that's a lot of fun. I think I had one other piece of housekeeping I just wanted to say first. Oh, yeah. And I am on the recent episode of the Horror Script podcast. I guest hosted on there with my buddy Rich. And we talked about the Chucky TV series that's now streaming on Peacock. And we got to talk about the first episode of that. And it was a lot of fun. So shout out to Rich, the Horror Script podcast. Go check that out. But yeah. So anyway, today, I think before we get into Obi-Wan and the whole spoiler discussion, I think it's worth mentioning real quick. Give it up for our boy, Johnny, Mr. Depp, Mr.
Oh
Edward Scissorhands.
claps.
Yeah. I'm looking at an article right now from USA Today on Monday. Oh, wait, nope. Wrong one. Johnny Depp, Amber Heard. I don't know. So Johnny Depp, here we go. NBC News. Johnny Depp won his defamation case against his ex-wife Amber Heard on Wednesday, and the jury awarded him $15 million in damages. Depp was awarded $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages in his defamation suit. The jury also awarded Heard $2 million in compensatory damages. So yeah, give it up for Johnny Depp. We got some justice in the world, folks. What do you have anything to say about that, Josh? About this whole big trial coming to an end?
Yeah, I was kind of shocked, honestly, with how it ended. I was not actually expecting it to end that way. I thought they both were going to walk away with basically nothing. So I actually stopped what I was doing. Luckily, it was a slow time at work, and I put it up on my phone. And me and like 2 or 3 other coworkers were watching it as it was happening. Did you get to watch it live, or did you get to see the recap?
No, I didn't even watch it live. I think I saw one quick clip where they gave the verdict, and that was
So
about
they
it.
literally, dude, they milk. Okay, so here's what happened. They said it was going to happen at 3:00. They sit down. The judge gets the like piece of paper from the jury, right? Everybody's on the edge of their seat. Okay. And then she calls the attorneys up to the desk, which is not, normally she just gives it to like somebody to read it off, like what the result was. And so she calls the attorneys up. They go back. Basically, long story short, the jury messed up because it's a bunch of normal people who have no idea how to fill out this paperwork properly. So they didn't like write in how much. So from what my understanding was, they basically, they said like what was guilty, what was not guilty, but they needed to decide what the amount of money was that somebody would be awarded, basically. And it sounds like they didn't do that. So they had to let the jury go back into the room. Took another like 20 minutes or so to fill out the paperwork properly. So then they had to come back out again, and then they made the announcement. And I was shocked to hear when they started reading that they basically found Amber, guilty of everything. I did some more research afterwards as well. Johnny was not awarded 15 million like we all initially thought. There was 10 million
Oh,
for the compensatory, whatever it's called, and then 5 million punitive. And I was like following these lawyers on TikTok, and what they told me was the 5 million punitive is basically their way of the jury saying that they really felt that what Amber did was like not right, like she was kind of cynical. But apparently in
right.
Virginia you can only do $335,000 worth of punitive damage, so the judge reduced that from 5 million to 335,000 because you just can't have that much in punitive damage. But at the end of the day, he won a little over 10 million, she only won 2. And so I was kind of happy. I think I was shocked that they found her guilty of literally everything. I thought it was going to kind of be a wash. So I'm pretty happy. I think regardless, Johnny's happy with the result. I don't think he even cared, quite honestly. I think he already proved his point, which is why he was in London and not even at the results. So I'm happy for our boy. I don't think he's ever gonna feel justified necessarily, but I think this has to have helped him. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was pretty clear really early into the trial being revealed what a psychotic bitch Amber Heard was. And it became pretty clear pretty quick. I mean, with all the subplot about her not donating all that money to that charity was crazy. That went pretty viral, that moment. Yeah, I am pretty happy that, Johnny Depp got his name cleared and everything. It's just kind of what kind of just scares me, I guess, is just the narratives and how they work. And now it's like Johnny Depp is like the second coming of Jesus Christ and everyone just loves him again. And I don't think it's healthy how much we hold up celebrities one way or another. I don't know. It's kind of weird to me that, like, yeah, no, he probably didn't do anything wrong, but I don't know, he still was like an alcoholic drug addict. I still love him. I'm happy that he won. I'm just it's like, what if it came out to like it could come out tomorrow that he like hit her or something. I don't know. It's here's what I'll say. I guess what I'm trying to get across. Amber Heard was basically like a nobody, and no one was even like knowing that Johnny Depp behind the scenes was like a total drug addict and alcoholic before this. And that, I'm not saying that makes him an abuser at all, but I feel like we should just kind of not hold up all of these celebrities like they're gods so much. And just, for example, like when you get Amber Heard on the stand, you realize what a complete psychopath she is. You realize that she was trying to get free press for all of that money that she donated, but she really didn't actually donate any of it. And she was getting free press, like good press at the time, when she was, going around talking about how she donated that money.
She pledged
How
it,
many?
though, Dan. She pledged it. I pledged the money.
She pledged it. I guess my point is there's probably a million other Amber Heards out there that are like all these celebrities that we love and worship. And I just, you know what I mean? It's just behind the scenes, you don't know what these people are like. They're all fucking unstable. They're all psychopaths. They're all egotistical maniacs, and I'm glad that Johnny got the opportunity to clear his name, but at the same time, I'm like, can we stop a little bit acting like he's the second coming of Jesus?
It's
I
unfortunately
love
what
his
our society does. They just we raise these actors and actresses to like such this like untouchable level that they're supposed to be like unhuman, and it's just not the case. So you're absolutely right. I mean, he's got so many actors and actresses and comedians, right, have drinking and drug problems, and it just gets, when it gets televised like this, it's just emphasized on another level. But then, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's even weird to me. Like there was literally a crowd of people waiting to just like cheer his lawyers when they like came out, and they're just like, I mean, you're right. It's a little weird to me. I was also talking to my friends, just like, I'm not saying there's a better way. I still find it kind of just funny. It's not, I don't think it's wrong. I don't think there's a better way to do it necessarily. But when I word it like this in my head, where 12 strangers just sat in a room with a bunch of lawyers and listened to them for the last 6 weeks. And then they go into a room and they just decide. They're just like, all right, we're going to figure out who owes $10 million to who. And it's just like, that blows my mind sometimes thinking about it. It's like just 12 strangers just walked into it. It's like the start of a joke. 12 strangers walk into a room and listen to these lawyers. And then like at the end of the day, they get to decide who wins and who loses. Like that's kind of crazy to me too. But no, I agree with you. I think it is just all, we do elevate these people and it's weird and it shouldn't happen, but it does.
Yeah, it's just enough with the celebrity worship a little bit, please. And then, it's funny. It's while like, everyone's all raising up Johnny Depp and not saying that they shouldn't. It's good that he won, but it's also it's not even that it's the strength in making Amber Heard the villain. She is now Satan to America. She is single-handedly bringing Americans together. It's like your sports teams, like, but except like, the Patriots versus the Giants. It's America versus Amber Heard. And now she's like the sacrificial lamb that we are now sacrificing to bring the country together and be like, that's our enemy, Amber Heard. It is kind of crazy to me just how that works. It's almost like that episode of South Park I was thinking about today, where they did like way back in the early 2000s, they did a Britney Spears episode, and the paparazzi, like, they were explaining that they literally had to sacrifice Britney Spears because the nation just needs to feed on like a celebrity and their downfall to make us all sane. And I just can't help but feel like that's the same thing happening here. But it's just kind of funny. But man, does she deserve it a lot.
Yeah. Well, now that I'm thinking about it too, we've had COVID, then we had the war in Ukraine, and now we're done with Amber and Johnny. So the question is, Dan, what is next? What is going to consume all of our attention as a country next? What's planned?
It's either going to be they're trying to push the whole monkeypox thing as the new COVID. That's not seeming to be getting any traction.
It's not getting any traction from what I've seen. Yeah.
It's like they released the pilot episode, but it's not getting picked up for a full season. I think they're really trying to go into the whole. They're going into the gun debate and the shootings. I mean, can we like stop pretending that there's not like a shooting every day? There was just another shooting in Oklahoma today. It was
school shooting or just like where was it?
Four people dead. We're so desensitized. I don't know. I just don't know which one it is anymore.
But where? In a school or in a grocery store again? Where was it at?
I didn't even listen to the whole thing. It was like Oklahoma, 4 people dead.
All right. I just want like, that's terrible. But like, can we just talk about? My God, dude, like it's just we can't get through an entire week without just feeling like we have to touch on some awful thing that has happened, and it drives me insane. Like for me, I want this to be a fun pop culture podcast where we talk about the latest movies and TV shows and video games, and instead we're always constantly bombarded with everything, and we're talking about monkeypox shootings and this trial that's been happening for the last 6 weeks. It's just like, dude, can we just catch a break? Can we just talk about meaningless stuff like the latest Obi-Wan Kenobi? But no, we have to talk about this stuff. So it's just, oh man, it's crazy. It was at a medical building. Gunman who killed 4 at Oklahoma medical building had been a patient of a victim. What? Okay. We'll have to look into it more. Yeah. I mean, oh my God. Okay. I don't even know what to say at this point. So
let's talk about soulless corporate entertainment products.
Yes.
We watched the first 3 episodes of the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series. Josh and I, we've talked about this ad nauseum leading up to this release. But yeah, no, we got the first 3 episodes. We're halfway through the series already. So at the time of recording this, I don't even know where to start. I guess we'll just try to go episode by episode. If you just want to give Josh your initial thoughts and your initial take on what we've seen so far. I mean, I know every Star Wars project has just been abysmal and just some spin-off of a spin-off of a spin-off of a spin-off
Sure.
that we don't care about. But this was the one, Josh. This was the one that
Yes.
we cared. So
Yes.
I think you're peeking a little bit, but
Oh, okay. My bad. My bad.
so I want to hear what you have to say about the first 3 episodes of Obi-Wan. If you just want to give a general, and this is spoilers for Obi-Wan Kenobi episodes 1 through 3.
Spoilers.
What did you
Spoilers.
think? What did you think of the first 3 episodes, Josh? What are
Yeah.
your initial
So
thoughts?
absolutely. So I'm gonna try to turn down my mic here so I don't peak too much. So here's what I want to say first. I'm super excited to talk about this because me and Dan have not talked at all throughout this week about our thoughts. So there's no influence here. I mean, I'm going to go first here, so that could potentially influence Dan. I don't think it will, but these are straight. Like, we have not been texting at all. So I watched the first 2 episodes by myself, and then I watched the 3rd episode with my sister and my dad, actually, which
Cool.
was, I was just like, and I literally was sitting there and I felt like a little kid, and I was so excited because it was like, ooh, it's Wednesday. Dan texted me and he said the new Obi-Wan's out. I can't wait to sit down and watch the new Obi-Wan. And my dad and sister were like, yeah, let's do it. Like, it was exciting. And I love that. I miss how a lot of shows now are like, Ozark or Stranger Things, where it's just like, you just get all of it right away. It's just new seasons out. You can binge it and watch it as fast as you can. So I enjoy that. So initial thoughts, as you can tell, very excited. I have been enjoying it. I don't want to say I love it. It's fantastic, but I have really, really been getting enjoyment out of watching this show so far. It has hit the marks that were important for me. It's been Obi-Wan going through PTSD, which is what I think it should be. We had the surprise to me that, like, oh, we showed you a little glimpse in the trailer of Luke, and you probably thought this was going to be Obi-Wan kind of watching over Luke. Psych. We're going to give you child Leia, and she is sassy and she is feisty, and I'm about it, dude. And I think it's hilarious.
Queen.
Yeah.
Slay. Slay, Queen.
And then, I don't want to go episode by episode yet, just overall thoughts, but this last episode threw me. I did not think we were going to get what we got in episode 3, but it went pretty crazy, and to me in a good way. So, summing up, I've been enjoying it. It's not some perfect show. It's not like on the highest quality, like with like Game of Thrones, but that was like a new thing. I'm very pleased with it so far. It's not been disappointing me. There's no multiverses, which my dad keeps saying he's loving it because he's been burnt out on Marvel and all these different universes. So he's just like my dad's thoughts on it. He's just thankful that there's no multi dimensions. But I've been really enjoying it. I definitely have some criticisms that we can talk about when we get there. But I've been enjoying it overall, and I'm happy with it, and I'm excited to see it continue to go on.
Sweet. Yeah, no, oh man, was I worried going into this series, as we talked about before. What I'll say is, I do have issues here and there, issues that I didn't expect I would have.
Okay.
I don't think so far, I don't think they're trying to shove too much into it, which I think was my biggest worry with the Inquisitors and focusing on them too much. I don't think that's an issue here, where they're trying to do way too many things that they've done before with these very limited Disney shows. I think at the core of the adventure that we're going on with Obi-Wan and what we're seeing from him, I'm satisfied and I'm enjoying it. And that's all that really matters in the grand scheme of things. I have some issues with very weird, like, my issues are very weird with this. I think my main issues would mainly just come with how characters get from point A to point B and get from one situation to another, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I think a big positive that I'll have about the show is that the directing is definitely a way bigger step up from something like the Book of Boba Fett. When we were on Tatooine, I was very worried that it was just going to look just like it did the Book of Boba Fett, where there was just this cheap feeling about that show. But in Obi-Wan, I think they're still using the volume, which for those of you who don't know is a new filming technique that they've been using for all these new Star Wars shows, this new technology with green screen. And I think because of the direction being a lot better and the camera is moving a lot more in this show, I think visually it looks a lot better and a lot different from what we got in the Book of Boba Fett, with a lot of different kinds of shots that I thought made it stand out. So yeah, I'm really curious to how it's going to end and where they're going to go with it. But with what they're doing so far, with definitely some issues, it's far from perfect. I am overall satisfied with what I'm seeing. It doesn't seem like they're doing Obi-Wan injustice. They are trying, at least with this, to not just shove every member berry into it. But we'll get into it. So yeah, so I guess just with that being said, we can just get into episode 1.
Okay.
So the opening episode, part 1, it's just part 1, part 2, part 3. We open up and we get a zoom. And first of all, the opening of the show was this montage.
The recap?
The recap.
Oh, it was beautiful. I loved it.
It was beautiful.
It was so well edited, and it was like I didn't need it at all because I remembered everything, but just the way they recapped it all, I was just like, let's go. Like I was ready. I was ready to watch some Obi-Wan.
Because you and me, the prequels, it was showing us all the events of the prequels, basically summed up an Obi-Wan and Anakin story to this point. And the prequels for us, like as bad as those movies are and as bad as a rap they get, those were our childhood. Those initial prequel movies. I remember going to the theater to go see those movies, and that's what, oh God, like that's our Star Wars. So getting that whole recap just it was a member berry, but man, did that just, oh God, it hooked me in so hard.
So good. So great.
Seeing all that. And then we get the zoom in shot from space, and we go in and we are on Coruscant. And I was like, oh, Coruscant. And then sure enough, by the way, was a little shocked by this opener, which so we get in the opener, we get Order 66 from the perspective of the Jedi Temple, from a group of younglings that escape from Order 66, supposedly. And we're just kind of getting this different perspective of within the Jedi Temple of what Order 66 was when the clone troopers were coming in and purging all of the Jedi. And it was this really gorgeous one take shot. And like just seeing the Jedi, like whoever it was, defend the younglings, like run around, stab all the clone troopers. It was really well done. It was really well shot. It was all one take. And yeah, it was great. It was a cool opener, just to get you up to speed with what was, just give you like another look on what Order 66 was and what it did. One of those younglings was, of course, the new Raya. It was Raya. One of those.
Yeah,
Raya. I think it was Raya.
Yeah.
One of those younglings was definitely Raya. So you have her, and then what else? I'm going to cut this, and then
that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember the episode myself. So I think after the Order 66 scene, don't we just go straight to Obi-Wan? I think.
No, we go to the Inquisitors on Tatooine.
That's right. Okay.
So yeah, so we're getting that perspective. You know that subplot of cut. You know that plot, they were not just showing that for nothing. You know that they weren't just showing that is going to come back into play later. And it's very clear that one of those younglings is Raya, the Inquisitor, the new Inquisitor character. So we get that. And always just weird to me in concept I was thinking about during that scene of the Jedi Purge. It is bizarre to me.
Reva. I'm sorry. It's Reva. It's not Raya. I don't want anybody yelling at us that I said it wrong and then I messed you up. It's Reva is the third sister, not Raya. My bad.
Sorry, Reva. Reva.
Reva.
So we know Reva is one of those younglings. And it was always just very bizarre to me that when you watch Order 66 now, that the clone troopers could just so easily take down the Jedi. I know it's Star Wars, and none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
They could plow through armies worth of droids with just their lightsaber, but they just get one bad shot on them from a clone trooper, and then they just drop dead. I just was thinking about that watching that scene. Also, I couldn't believe I was screaming when I was watching that scene the first time. I was like, oh my God, this is so gorgeous. This is beautiful. Oh, but they're opening up with a scene where they're murdering younglings in their school. Maybe that's a little, but
Maybe
I
a
guess
little too close to home right now, but
I know.
it's what that scene happened in 2005, right? In when Revenge of the Sith came out. So it's really just recapping. So
I know, it was just funny to me. So, yeah, so then we cut to Tatooine where we get introduced to the Inquisitors, and we do get a very nice overhead shot of Tatooine as their ship is flying in, which I thought was great. We didn't get that was something lacking in the Book of Boba Fett. Like we haven't gotten like an overhead shot of Tatooine. So that was just something I noticed. Then we get to the interrogation between the Grand Inquisitor and Reva and the other guy with the hat. They come in. They look cool. I thought they looked cool. And they go into the bar, the cantina, and the Grand Inquisitor starts going, Jedi hunt themselves. And he's just walking around, like, just like saying all that stupid Sith crap. The only thing that bothered me in that scene is when they confronted the Force user, the Jedi, in hiding, played by Benny Safdie. Remember when he like got away? He forced down the awning and he ran away so easily, and they just let him get away.
like
Did you
the
notice that?
little metal awning was gonna just stop them from being able to. Something about all of the escape scenes in this series so far has been awful. I mean, we'll talk about the Leia
I
running in the forest scene
Yes,
later,
thank you.
but something about all of these escape scenes, I just and I it's when I realize like I'm so biased, right? Like I shrug all of that stuff off, and I'm like, that's stupid. It makes no sense, but whatever. I'm okay with it because I like Obi-Wan, right? But no, I mean you're totally right. He literally runs away, brings down the awning, and they're just like, okay, like
Yeah.
it
Like
was very odd.
everyone gets like a 10-minute head start. Like I don't understand. But I wouldn't bring it up if it didn't happen multiple times so far. It's
But
actually
it
kind of
has.
weird. It's really weird how this is my main complaint of the show, and I was not expecting this to be the main complaint of the show, where it was getting distracting to where I'm like, okay, this is a bit of a stretch. But again, the overall adventure that they're having, I'm enjoying, so it's not ruining the show for me. If I wasn't invested in the adventure that was going on, I wouldn't give a crap and I'd be complaining about everything. But so yeah, that was just a weird observation. So then we cut to Obi-Wan working at some sort of a meat factory, a mine out in the desert in Tatooine. Give me your thoughts on that. Walk me through that. Anything you have to say about it, or just
Yeah, I
seeing
thought
him in his
you
everyday
know,
life?
yeah, seeing that, I mean, that being the first time that we saw him in, since, 2005 essentially, right, was kind of like, well, I think it did what it wanted to, which was it showed us how far he's fallen, basically, right? Like he is not the guy we remember. He is not this Jedi, with his life together. He has lost his best friend slash brother slash son, however you want to view Anakin and his relationship. He's no longer have in this family of all Jedi. Like he's got nothing, and he's on the run by himself. The only thing he has at this point is to watch over Luke, which we then find out, does he even really have that? Because now the uncle is like, dude, leave us alone. Like, right. So I think it did what it was supposed to do, which was really show us like, wow, Obi-Wan is literally slicing meat at a factory now to like get by in life and stealing a little bit to feed his weird camel nose looking thing, and this is where he's at right now, and let's see how he's doing. And so I was fine with it. And then when he goes back to his cave, oh my god, and I don't want to jump too far ahead if you have anything to say, but when he gets back to the
Go for
cave
it.
and he starts talking or trying to talk to Qui-Gon, I was like, "Ooh, it's gonna happen. We're gonna see Qui-Gon." And obviously we haven't yet, but I was super excited. I think it, in hindsight, after I realized that that's supposed to also show he's not in touch with the Force anymore. Like, if he was still in touch with the Force, I think he'd be able to talk to Qui-Gon. And we can get into theories here, but I have a feeling where I think the show is going to go, or I hope it's going to go. I'm not completely sure yet. But that scene, and then obviously you start seeing his dreams and the PTSD he's going to, and I was like, yes, this is what I want. I want to see a broken Obi-Wan, because he should be, and I want to see how he's going to get out of this. Right? How is he going to get out of this rut? So I kind of enjoyed that whole beginning scene. He's just living in a cave, working at a factory. He's not trying to, you see the itch in him that he wanted to say something when that guy got pushed, right? And got paid like less than he was supposed to or whatever. And like the Jedi in him, the inner, good part of him was telling him he should defend that guy, but he can't, he's got to stay low. He can't stick out, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it was good to see that. I mean, now that Obi-Wan's just essentially a pussy, and he can't stand up for himself.
Okay.
He can't. No, but I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
No, it makes sense.
I don't want to say it like that, but like, I mean, sure.
But no, he can't. No, he can't. And it is interesting that he has been, but this is 10 years later. He's been doing this for 10 years. He's been out of it. And when you get like the how do you show one is suffering from trauma? Oh, in their sleep, they do the scene where they're no,
yes,
no, and then they wake up from their sleep and then they're having like the dreams. Yeah, so that was good to see. He's trying to talk to Qui-Gon. He can't speak to Qui-Gon. He's disconnected from the Force, like Luke was in whatever, The Last Jedi. So, but more understandably so. So that was good to see. I liked all of that stuff. It was nice. Yeah, and then we start getting into the plot. We get that really good scene where then Obi-Wan, when he's in his cave, he meets the Jawa, and he buys from the Jawa the little fighter that Luke has in the original movie, the little toy ship. Yeah, who cares? I didn't care about that.
Yeah,
Sure,
I didn't care too much about that either. Yeah, whatever.
It's a little Easter egg. I get it. It's from the original movie. But who cares? So it was just weird to me. I was like, you have a security camera outside your place. This Jawa just literally walks into frame in your living room.
Well, the Jawa clearly has, he gets the green light or the blue light or whatever. He's good to go. So
I know that didn't bother me, but
yeah, whatever. Yeah,
that didn't bother me. It's just, again, like a weird thing. I was like, oh, he just walks into your house. But anyway, so then we get to the scene where he goes into town after his day of work, somewhere around that point, and then he is getting his camel from town after he takes the shuttle, and Owen confronts him and basically says, we don't want your kind, or we don't want he doesn't want him to become a Jedi. What are you going to train him, just like you trained his father? So that was a whole thing. Owen is fucking awesome in this show. I love Uncle Owen. He's the man. He's just like some like dusty, like just like curmudgeon, like moisture farmer. Like, these Jedi are vermin. You're not gonna come on my land and take my guns. He's like got that real vibe to him. But yeah, but I did skip ahead a little bit. So then there's that scene when Obi-Wan, after he gets his camel and drops off the ship to Luke at the house in the night, then the Jedi comes up to Obi-Wan in the desert and confronts him.
Yes.
And and it makes sense. He just basically, Obi-Wan tells him like, yeah, I can't help you. Bury this thing in the desert and go into hiding. Like, the fight is over. I don't know. I didn't have any problems. I didn't have any
Yeah.
problems with that scene. It made perfect sense. I was like, what was Obi-Wan supposed to do? Like, yeah, we'll team up and take on the Empire. No, go fucking hide.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah. So yeah, that scene was fine. And then we get to the Owen confrontation. And then that's when the Inquisitors show up, and that's when we get our first real introduction to what was it? Reva?
Reva. Reva. Reva, the third sister. Yes.
Yeah. Now she comes in and they with the other Inquisitors and they start interrogating all the townspeople. And now what did you think of that scene when we first got a look at Reva?
So
When she threatens Owen in the town street?
yeah, so let me say this first because we both watched what I always mess up his name so much.
Ewan
Ewan? How do you pronounce his first name?
Ewan McGregor. I
Ewan
don't know.
McGregor,
Ewan.
whatever.
We'll get
Obi-Wan.
into
His name's just
we'll
Obi-Wan.
get into the
I mean,
controversy
but real
later.
briefly, yeah, he came out and said apparently people are saying some pretty nasty things to the actress who plays Reva. I don't have a problem with how the actress is portraying Reva. I believe she's doing what she is supposed to do, and I don't, as of right now, I don't like how the character is written. It's a very just hot-headed, just rah rah rah. I'm gonna do whatever I want. I'm gonna go get Obi-Wan. I'm gonna yell and scream and just scare everybody and don't tell me what to do. And right now, personally, to me, that character has no depth. I don't understand the motivation. It's not very interesting to me. So right off the bat, after seeing Reva try to, kill that Jedi, the Grand Inquisitor stops her lightsaber with the Force as it's like burning his arm, throws her away, and she's just like, murmur, murmur, murmur. Like that character is just not interesting to me as of right now. So all of those scenes in the first episode were I was like, I enjoyed the Grand Inquisitor. Every time he spoke, I was interested. I was like, I want to see more of this guy. And then the other weird looking guy, I even thought, like, I don't know, all the other Inquisitors seemed more interesting to me, but clearly from the trailers and even from the show, you were like, okay, like, we are supposed to be, the Reva's going to be the character that we're going to spend the most time on, it seems like, as one of the Inquisitors. And I was kind of like, I don't really care too much about her right now. Now things could change. They could develop her character more, but as of right now, I'm just kind of like, meh. And it's nothing to do with the actress. I think she's just, this is the material and the line she was given, but I just don't think right now I connect with her character or find her very interesting. That's kind of my thoughts. What did you think of her?
Yeah, it's so funny. I was watching this with Marissa the first episode, and we were watching this scene, and Marissa was basically agreeing with you. She was like, I don't like that character. She seems, too over the top, too, screamy, yelly. And you're not the majority of the internet, all of the controversy aside, most people are not liking her character. And I know I'm going to sound like a contrarian on this one, and I don't mean to be. Marissa, I was sitting right there. I was like, I really like her character. I actually really like her. I like that she's over the top. It's stupid. All these characters are stupid anyway. I mean, all of the Sith are cartoony, evil bad guys with no depth. Like, that's all they are. But I don't know. To me, I liked it when she was like, tell me where the Jedi is, or this fucking man dies. Like, I liked it. I was like, I don't know. And she's just crazy, and they're all power hungry, and they're not working together. That's like all of the Sith to me, though. I don't know. I didn't I was more bored when the Grand Inquisitor was walking in the cantina and being like, the Jedi hunt themselves, and here's a really long, boring speech about
that we
generic
already
evil
heard in the trailer.
we've heard a million times before, and I'm an evil Jedi. I just love that she was like, tell me where the fucking Jedi is. I don't know. I liked her energy. I was like, yeah, fucking go for it.
Which is clearly what they wanted to do, right? So that's like,
right.
Once again, this isn't anything to do with the actress. So if you don't like the character,
right.
don't blame her. You should blame the writers. So excuse me, clearly
the directing,
they're yeah, sorry, clearly it's connecting with you. but it's not. It seems like it's not connecting with a whole lot of other people, which unfortunately just
that's
happens
fine.
sometimes. It's sometimes you thought you had this character, and you're not wrong, and I'm not wrong, right? But it's funny when you bring it like, yeah, I mean, yeah, she's so different. I think I'm just so used to Darth Vader does not need to do that to be the scariest, most intimidating bad guy ever, right? Like
Right.
that's not what he does. So it's a little jarring and shocking when one of his inquisitors, who work under him, basically is so opposite of that, right?
Right.
Nothing wrong with it. It's just I haven't, maybe with time, but my concern is we've got what, 3 more episodes, or do we know for sure it's 6? Is it like only going to be 6?
There was something at Jedi or at the Star Wars Celebration where Ewan McGregor, and this was a big news story.
Yeah.
Apparently, he did say something where he was like, before he was done on stage and giving a big speech to the fans, he did say something like, "I hope you enjoy episode 4, 5, and 6." And then he paused and he goes, "And 7 and 8 and 9 and 10." And then he like basically did a mic drop and walked off stage.
Weird. Okay.
So it's being a little weird. We might get a surprise. I don't know. There might be a season 2, what he was referring to, but that's
Okay.
not here nor there.
So I don't want to get too off track, but basically my point is we're halfway there if there's 6 episodes.
Right.
So we're going into episode 4. I still don't even know necessarily what story are we telling. Like, I mean, Obi-Wan's got to Leia, and it's kind of, Leia's kind of getting abducted again after this last episode. They've already had a confrontation, Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. So I'm just a little concerned that if there's only 3 episodes, I really don't know what's going to happen. And I'm okay with that. But at the same time, I'm a little concerned that like, I don't want to leave this so open-ended unless we know we're getting more, whether it's more than 6 episodes or a second season. But the whole reason I went down this tangent was because I think it's going to take me and a lot of other Star Wars fans time if we are to connect with this Reva character, because it's so jarring. It's so different. It feels like a Jar Jar Binks in a sense to me, where it's just like, I've never seen a character like this before, right? And it's like, maybe if we got more Jar Jar, no, I take that back. Nobody wants more Jar Jar. But I think if I get enough of her and we develop her as a character, I'll change my mind. But right now, it's so different and it's not what I was expecting, and I'm not enjoying it like you are. That's why I have a little bit of an issue. But I'm also open-minded and hoping it comes, and because that's definitely one of my biggest complaints, other than the escape scenes, is just Reva as a character. I haven't quite grasped yet, but
Yeah, again, I don't know. It just I like the over the topness. I feel like, you know, the main bad guy, I think back to the main bad guy, Ben Mendelsohn, the Krennic from Rogue One. He was kind of like cartoony, like evil Empire guy, like fire at those rebel scum. Like he was like one of those types. I don't know. I don't know. To me, it was different. It was campy. If you don't like Reva, I don't think you're going to like her. If you didn't like her now, it's just the personality you don't like. I don't think it's gonna.
could be.
I don't think you're gonna connect. We're gonna go into her backstory with when she was a youngling. That's gonna happen. She's just, the thing is that the Grand Inquisitor and the other Inquisitor with the hat, those are characters from the cartoons and Rebels that the fans have seen before, and now they're seeing them for the first time in live action. So they needed like a new character for this specific
You've seen
show.
Rebels, correct?
I've seen parts of it. I've seen most of it. God, I don't even like. It's just, it's too much for me. Like it follows a whole other storyline around the same timeline.
It's supposed to be 5 years after this, I believe. Do you know? Am I correct in saying that? That's what I looked up.
So I guess what I don't know, it's around the same time as this show, but around the same time, I mean, it's within a couple years. Apparently, I think though Rebels technically takes place after this show,
Correct.
where the Inquisitors were first introduced. So when Reva, get this shit, and I found this out only by seeing a post. The Grand Inquisitor is not actually dead. Rebels takes place after Kenobi.
So this is what I was going to bring up to you, because I didn't know, because I immediately after I watch one of these episodes, I go on YouTube and I love to watch everybody's reaction. It's so enjoyable to me to watch everybody react to what I just watched and stuff, and it's fun. And all of these Star Wars nerds who know way more than Star Wars than me, all knew the Inquisitors, they knew the Grand Inquisitor, they knew Rebels took place after this, and the Grand Inquisitor, the cartoon Grand Inquisitor, who looks like exactly like the character that they're portraying in Obi-Wan, is alive, right? So everybody,
right.
I've talked to my brother. Yeah, I've talked to my brother as well. And everybody on YouTube that I'm watching, they're like, dude, the Grand Inquisitor is not dead. Like, unless there's like another Inquisitor, because it's just a title, right? It's like president, right, of Inquisitors. So
no, it's the same character.
But they were saying, unless there's like some identical twin to this guy, it doesn't make any sense that he's dead, because he dies later in Rebels, apparently. So I'm convinced at this point that he's not dead. And I'm like, are we going to see him come back?
No.
Is it important? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Star Wars is so stupid. Because like no one ever really dies. No one ever fucking dies. You can get cut in half and fall down a pit in episode 1, and you can come back. No one ever fucking dies in these shows. Like it's so. But honestly, I think the only real, from a writing point of view and a plot point of view, Reva stabbing the Grand Inquisitor was to get him out of the show. Like, he's in a hospital somewhere recovering, that's the idea.
So you think he's out? You don't think we're going to see him at all in the rest of these episodes?
I hope we don't see him again. Fuck him. He was boring.
Oh my God, dude. I
was the exact. I know. I'm in the minority. No, I didn't watch.
Fine. It's just.
I've seen Rebels. I've seen him before. I'm like, the fuck this guy. I don't care. He just walks around. He's like, oh, the Jedi hunt themselves, and he just spews all these like Sith boring talking points. Like, oh God, he sounds like a politician. So like, I just didn't want to listen to him talk anymore.
Fighting, I was like, to be the Grand Inquisitor, basically. It is political. Like, that's all Reva's trying to do. She's trying to prove herself to Darth Vader. I deserve it. Okay, yeah.
So let's talk about Leia a little bit.
Sure.
So what I like what this show did, and I feel like it was a big reveal. I've heard this was kind of a rumor a little bit that we might get a glimpse of young Leia. As soon as we cut to Alderaan and we get that whole montage, and it's like it's a big reveal, right? Of, we are going to young Leia.
Yeah.
At first I was like, why the fuck are we going to young Leia? None of this is relevant to Obi-Wan's story. And then immediately it clicked. I was okay. I was like, this is what they're going to do. Because they needed to, and I think this is a very good choice. I really like this, honestly. Because they knew, look, this show has to do, in my mind, the show has to accomplish two things, right? It has to show Obi-Wan and just show us what his mind state is like, and what his everyday life is like, and what he is just experiencing in this time, and just reckoning with, his loss of everything, and grieving, and everything that we've talked about before. We want to see where his head's at, and get inside of his head, and like what he's actually thinking, and reconnecting with the Force. And they have to bring us on a fun adventure. He's got to have some sort of adventure or some sort of objective in the storyline. He can't just walk around, Tatooine with old Obi-Wan, just, drinking and like not having, like, just totally in misery, even though that's what I would have wanted to see. But, but they have to have an adventure. So they knew they had to get him off world. You cannot have Luke get captured and then like Obi-Wan saves him. I mean, that, I guess you could have that, but then I feel like you're kind of breaking continuity a little bit, because then it's like, when I'm just thinking to the original movie, when Obi-Wan, when Ben Kenobi encounters Luke, he's like, oh, you're that old man that lives out in the desert. Like, Ben, like, I know you, like, they've met before, but he would have been like, yeah, remember when you saved me? Like, when we went on that big adventure when I was a 10-year-old kid, that wouldn't have really meshed too well. I'm not saying that they might not still do that, but I feel like it's good that they avoided that. I like that, he was like, oh, wait a minute, but, Leia is the other child. I thought it was a good plot point to make him go, to get him off world. They had to get him off Tatooine. How do they do that? They put Leia in danger, and he has to go off world, and he has to go with Leia. And I like that they put him in this situation where now he's running around the galaxy with a very young, sassy Leia, and he's like using. I like that, and I think we're getting a lot of good moments out of that. I think what I was complaining about was something like, not to go back to like something like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where I felt when you have a hero like this, like very hardened, not believing in themselves anymore, like just a kind of grumpy hero, right? On an adventure forced to be with a young child. We've seen this a million times before. The child is supposed to humanize the hero and they have a fun adventure. Same thing with the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. Like, this is something we've seen a million times before. And I think here, this is a good way to not only just, oh, look, it's young Leia, but it's really what it's doing is it's getting Ben back to his older self and really kind of just spending time with this young girl. I think is very much giving us some very good moments with him. So I'm really liking the adventure they're going on so far with Leia and Obi-Wan. Any just thoughts on that with the Leia stuff?
Yeah, I'm not going to take credit for it either because I'm not this smart, but I was watching some videos online and everybody was like making the connection on, oh, it makes so much sense that Obi-Wan like has a relationship or sees Leia as a kid, because in A New Hope, the first movie, episode 4, she has on the she sends out the message with R2D2 that says, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope, right? And it's like, how does she know who Obi-Wan is, right? How does she know him by Obi-Wan and not Ben? And it's that, this is whether or not how much that goes into it, but I thought that was a cool little connection. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that makes sense. Like, yeah, technically Luke was like running into Ben, right, on Tatooine, like when, the original trilogy, like that was kind of supposed to be, it felt like the first time they really like knew each other. Clearly Leia knew Obi-Wan because she literally sent an SOS to him. And this is how, right? This is like how she knew Obi-Wan, because he had to go save her from all of this. So I thought that was a cool little connection. But yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying the little adventure they're going on. I think the actress who is playing Leia, she's like, she must have been 8. She's like 9 right now. I looked it up, right? She's supposed to be 10 in the show. She's 9 right now. So she was probably like 8 when she like actually did these episodes, honestly. I mean, I don't know how long ago they like did these episodes, but she looks like, me and my dad were both like, dude, she looks young, and she's supposed to be like 10, but I think she's doing a great job. She's sassy. Touching like the last thing about, I want to move and talk a little bit more about episode 3, where the third episode of this show. But with episode 1, we need to talk about it real quick because we went past it.
Sure, we could skip around. We don't.
Yeah, we can skip around here. We just need to talk about it. I immediately texted my brother because he texted me too, and we're like, dude, did I just watch 3 grown men not be able to catch a 10-year-old running through a forest for like how long? And I've never seen a tree branch be so overpowered and just stop 3 grown men. Now, thank God they caught her. Like, if she got away in that situation, I was gonna be like, bro, they tried to make the tension, but I'm like, if they don't catch her,
they shook the camera, they made really dramatic music.
Ridiculous.
Oh my God,
like,
a tree branch.
She's like sliding under tree branches, and I'm like, what are we?
Don't they have stun guns?
Like, what are we doing? So this bothered me a little bit.
It's like Star Wars. They push your suspension of disbelief. They really do sometimes, and yeah, that was bad. Like, I couldn't believe you are the biggest franchise, the second biggest franchise in American culture. You have all the money in the world to get the best writers, and you did not see that in the editor's room and be like, oh my God, this is fucking pathetic, this chase scene.
It really is.
I couldn't believe. I was like, I cannot believe that was in that scene turned out. I feel like there's a way you could have shot it, or you could have done it. You could have made some obstacle for them that made it a little, like maybe Leia like had a stun gun or something that slowed them down or something. Like, you could have put something in there where, I mean, that was again, and that was like the second time where I was like, what? Like
It
it
could
was
have
bad.
even been like, they just did a poor, like, if their thought process was like, oh, she's in the forest all the time because she runs away and she likes the forest, so she just knows it better than them.
She
Then they
goes down
just
like a tunnel.
yeah, she achieved that poorly. It should have been like, oh man, she's like set up some like fun little booby traps just for fun, right? And been like doing something, or like, yeah, she
Like
dug a
oh,
ton, like
like Home
something.
Alone.
Yeah, like something else. But it was literally just like, no, she's just somehow like dodging these guys, and they have I don't know. So once again, I definitely at that point felt like I'm definitely biased towards the show, and I want it to be good because I was just like trying to shrug it off. If that was like a Marvel show, I feel like I'm being critical about it. Like, I understand that I'm more critical about Marvel movies and I let more things like slide with Star Wars. That's a bias of mine, and I accept that. If you don't like it, I'm admitting it, at least, right? It's just one of those things. So it's like I could definitely like look at that. I'm like, that was pretty awful, but I'm gonna let it slide because I want to enjoy the show. And I was just like, it
Right.
was stupid, but we're gonna just move on now. So
Yeah, and that's where the issues come in. It's like it's not that look, all that matters is that the core story they're trying to tell, am I enjoying it? And I think yes, I think I am getting a lot of satisfying moments out of the adventure they're on, which is Ben rescuing a young Leia, and I like that. I think the actress that plays Leia is really great, really making her seem like a young Leia. Man, I mean, with that sassiness though, the sassy child, there's a fine line to me where that shit could get annoying real quick,
yes,
and you just want
I
to grab
agree.
her and be like, "Shut up, you little
Yep.
punk," and start
Yep.
shaking her. But she didn't get too annoying. She didn't get too annoying. She did it well, so I was happy with that. Yeah, when you what you mentioned actually was something I was thinking of big time, where you were saying a lot of people were saying that it was clever that, and this is again, I think they take, and this is just with all of Star Wars, when you're doing these prequels and it's going to tie into a million other things, there's going to be jumps in logic and things that conflict with the other movies and the lore, and you're going to have to just kind of things are not going to mesh. And there's a couple times where they do this in the show where I'm like, that doesn't really make sense in the grand scheme of things. So the whole idea of, when I was thinking when, oh, like, so Obi-Wan's going on this adventure with young Leia, right? It was a little weird to me when I was thinking in the original movie, it's the iconic message, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. Years ago, you served my father in the Clone Wars." I was thinking, wait a minute. I think that would have, I almost think maybe that's conflicting a little bit because it's like, I think I would have said, "Hey, Obi-Wan Kenobi, we went on this big adventure when I was a 10-year-old girl. You remember? You rescued me. Like, come and help me." But she doesn't say that. That's not the iconic speech. It's,
Sure.
"You served my father." She's speaking as if they never met. But what I think they're doing kind of cleverly is that in the original movie, Leia never actually fucking saw Obi-Wan. She never saw Ben. Like, she may have briefly saw Ben when they were like getting on the Millennium Falcon and escaping the Death Star. I don't think in the show, I don't think Obi-Wan has ever actually said his name to her. I think he just said, "My name is Ben." So I don't think she knows that that's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hmm.
That's my theory.
Interesting. Okay. I'm on board for that. I haven't really paid attention to that. I'd have to go back just to double check to make sure that he hasn't. But you might be right. He might have only ever said his name is Ben, and she hasn't put that together. Um I'm down with that theory. That's interesting.
Yeah, because that was a little distracting me. I'm like, wait a minute, wouldn't you be like, wouldn't like when he dies, when Obi-Wan dies on the Death Star and they're in the Millennium Falcon, it just feels like if I was Leia, I would have been like, yeah, I went on this like whole adventure with him when I was 10 years old, like, and he rescued me and we like went on this big adventure. I don't know. I in my mind, I would like to think, well, she didn't know that that was Obi-Wan. Like,
Okay.
I would like to think that. But anyway, but that's the thing. Who cares? As long as as long as I'm enjoying the fucking story, little things like that don't matter to me. Um, but it's just still an observation that I have in my head. So there's that. Where to go to next? So,
I want to touch on something real quick because I literally like shed a tear at this scene, and I want to see if it touched you the way it touched me.
oh, of course it
I
did.
literally I don't even know. You might not. I might be thinking about something completely different. I'm just kidding. I mean, there's actually been multiple times where I've got emotional. This one is definitely the weirdest emotional one. And
Okay.
if you think I'm weird, I totally get it. I'm an emotional person. I know I'm weird. The end of the second episode,
Mhm.
the way, just the way he says his voice, or the way he says his name when Obi-Wan's
Anakin.
in the ship and he says Anakin for the first time, and we haven't heard him say those words in forever. And then it just cuts to Anakin in the tube that somehow everybody on the internet knows the specific name of that tube that like
The
he sits
bacta
in.
tank.
And I'm like, how does everybody know what this is and I don't? I was like, okay. I watched that part so many times, just the way he says Anakin. I was just like, oh, my heart broke. But yeah, but I mean, there's been a couple times where, and then right before that, right when he's walking with Leia and she's being all sassy and he stops and he's like, you remind me of somebody. And, obviously he's talking about Padme. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude, I
I did the
can't,
same thing. I was like, "Oh,
I
it hit
can't,
me.
dude.
It
It
hit
hit
me."
me. And then in this past episode, when they're on the the truck with the troops, the stormtroopers, and they're trying to come up with this elaborate story, and he messes up and calls her Leia instead of like Luma or whatever. And they're just
Mhm.
like, you just said Leia. And it's like, wow, they're paying more attention than I am, because I completely like miss that. These stormtroopers, they can't shoot a freaking thing, but they're listening to these stories. And and then he saves the day by saying, oh, Leia was her mother's name. I get confused sometimes. And oh man, it's just like stuff like that when and then she looks at him and she goes, because she's obviously force sensitive, so she can like tell, it feels like, when like people are lying. And she's like, did you know? I forget exactly what she says, but she asked the question like, are you my father? And it's just like, what do you
He goes,
say
"I
to
wish."
that?
He goes,
I
"I
wish
wish
it
I
was that,
was."
yeah, or I wish it was that simple or something like that. And you're just thinking like, what do you say? He knew both mom and dad. They're both dead. Well, no, they're not both dead, but Anakin's dead in a sense. And like, I'm just like, oh, my heart just like breaks. And I
Right.
love all of those scenes. And yeah, it makes you just remember all the things that Obi-Wan has gone through. Obviously, we had the scene too where we saw Hayden like out in that field. I thought that was
Right.
great. As just the way he turned, and it was
Right.
just like, that was
And
fantastic.
they're really going down the road, which I kind of like to see, and this is something that I kind of wanted, and, I wanted, and I don't think we're there 100% yet, but yeah, we're seeing, like, Obi-Wan, he has PTSD, he's, like, seeing those visions, he's, like, and I feel like that stuff is, I hate to, like, sound so, like, I feel like that stuff you is not hard to write in this situation. You have all the tools. You have Obi-Wan on this adventure with this girl that he has a very close connection to, his to her family, and like they're just everything he's gone through. Like, you have so many opportunities to have these small moments like that, and they're just so satisfying, and they're easy. They get you right away. Like, oh, you just remind me of someone. Like, fucking got me so good. And he has that like you were saying, he has that conversation with her. It's so, this situation that they're in is so ripe with opportunity just to give you so many of those moments, and I just want that. And I they went with the whole, like, the PTSD thing. He goes into, just has so many, like, interesting observations that come out of this too. It's like he goes into, he goes, I never knew my mother. He starts actually going into, like, his backstory personally. Like, I never knew, the Jedi came and took me away. And it's funny. It's like, yeah, the Jedi were fucking scumbags too. Like, and if you know the lore, like, they would just
They
take
literally just
children away from
pick
their,
kids at a young age and just take them away from their family. Yeah,
like,
it's messed
who is
up.
supposed to be based off Nazi Germany anymore? I don't know. Like the Jedi were kind of scumbags. Like, they really were. But it's funny, like, when just those scenes, they work so well, and they're just so easy. I just need that more. I want, I need a scene, like an Oscar-worthy speech where Obi-Wan just kind of, like, lays it out, like, to someone, like, when he's sitting in the hospital bed, and then, like, I lost everything. I lost, just where he just verbally gets it all out. Like, I want him to do that, where he just
Yeah.
lets it all out and just goes like, I was in this war for 3 years. As a Jedi, he's so reserved, and he's so, like, he's just the guy that always has it all together. I want him to just I want him to let it all out just once and just kind of verbalize everything he's been through, all of his grievances, all of things he's angry at. I want him to be angry at the Jedi. I'm angry that we lost. I want him to just like, you could write such a good fucking scene where
I
he
didn't
just
know that I wanted that until you just said that, and now I also want that. I think you're right. I think that'd be a
like
great
there's so
scene.
many opportunities. Like I want him to be like that, we'll get into it, but where he's like very injured at the end of the next episode. You could have a scene where he's laying in like a hospital bed and he's like in recovery on a ship, and like just that Imperial officer comes over to him and starts like having a conversation with him, and you have another scene for that moment where he just is really just coming to terms. I really just want to see him come to terms with everything and just say like, I've fought in this war for 5 years. I thought I was fighting for the right thing, and now I'm like, I just don't know if the Jedi were right. I thought I believed in what I believed in. I lost everything. I lost my brother. I lost, and this is this girl, this family is the only thing I have close to. Like, I want that. I want that moment. I want that more than I want like a confrontation with Vader, Like,
Yeah,
I just,
yeah. I mean,
I
we've
just,
already gotten that, so I
right, right.
agree.
And we'll get to that. Like, but that's what I'm looking for in this show. And they're getting very close to it. And we're getting those moments. I just feel like you can dig that into that knife like so deep. Like you can get that so good with this show. And I hope we get that.
I hope so
But
too, and I feel like we have to, because like I have some predictions on where I think the show's going to go, but before we get there, I did want to touch on more so of the last episode that just came out with. Obviously, we finally saw I shouldn't say finally, we got it sooner than I thought we were going to, a confrontation between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and I want to talk
Mhm.
about the whole way that played out, my thoughts on that. Obviously, Darth Vader comes onto the planet where he's trying to escape with Leia. They're supposed to be farmers or whatever, and one of these somebody's helping them who's like trying to pretend to be like an officer of the Empire or whatever.
Mhm.
And the scene where Obi-Wan kind of like freezes up and just kind of like stops. I was like, I was even kind of like, what's going on? And I'm slow. But honestly, the fact that I don't pick up on things as fast, I feel like I enjoy things more, because like the people who are so good, they're like, as soon as that happens, they're like, oh, Darth Vader. I don't feel like they enjoy it as much as I do. Like when I have to think about it and I'm like, why is he like frozen? Like, does he have to poop or something? Like, what's going on? And then you're just like, oh my God, like Darth Vader is here and he feels it. And I was like, oh. And I'll say what I'm so excited that I got to saw was the brutality of Darth Vader since Rogue One, and he just went ham and he was just aggressive and violent. Through the first trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, we saw like what I would say is kind of like a old crippled Darth Vader. He was dark, he was menacing, but like I mean, he was at the end of his life cycle. That's what it felt like, right? We didn't get to see this
Right.
aggressive. So when we got that end of the scene in Rogue One and he was just swinging that lightsaber, force choking 4 people and throw like, oh man, I was like, I want more of that. So when he's walking down that alleyway in that town and he's pulling people from windows and he's snapping people's necks and he's dragging them on the ground, trying to bait Obi-Wan coming out. I mean, I might, if my mom heard me right now, she'd be like, man, you are messed up in the head. But I was like, I was all about that because that was the dark, vicious, aggressive Darth Vader that I wanted to see. And we got that. And then when he dumps all the Legos on the ground that for some reason are flammable, I don't know if you picked up on, I have no idea
Yeah.
what he does. He just
Who knows?
pulled some big bin down, and I'm like, are those Legos? Is he gonna make him
It was
step
an
on those?
interesting set piece.
And then he lights it on fire, and I'm like, and once again, I'm so slow, so I'm thinking, well, he just created a barrier between him and Obi-Wan. I don't get it. And then he's basically like, you're going to experience pain. And he just starts dragging him through the fire like he was burned alive himself. I was like, oh my God, dude. Like, I just was like, I can't believe this is happening. I'm literally watching Obi-Wan basically burn alive. And this is what, oh, and I skipped one of my favorite lines of the show so far, which is
No, it's
when
okay. Go. Yeah.
Obi-Wan turns on his lightsaber, right? And he's like, and they finally meet, after he like ran away a couple times, which I kind of thought was hilarious. He just like
Yeah.
looks
Don't
at
even get me
him.
started.
He just kind of looks at him and he's like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna leave. And he just kind of runs away. Listen, at the end of the day, I knew that the way, because obviously, they both survive. I knew, however, the fight was going to end was either going to be one, super corny, or two, just flat out stupid. I mean, you could argue either way. But when Obi-Wan looks at Anakin and says like the first words to him, which is, what are you? Or right, I think that's what it is.
What
Like,
have you?
what are
I
you?
think he
What are
said,
you made
What
of?
have you become? What have you
What have you
become?
become? And he says, I am what you made me. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude. Like, I loved that line. I thought it was great. And I was just like, it had all that emotion in it. The corny part, obviously, yes, I'll let you touch on in a second, where they're like locked eye and eye. Awesome, like, behind Darth Vader, you see his lightsaber turn on Obi-Wan at the distance. I thought that scene, just the way that was great. But then he just looks at him and runs. I thought it was like, well, that's kind of interesting. But I understand to a sense, Obi-Wan is not looking for conflict at all at this point in his life. He's old, or older, I should say. He's not in touch with the Force, so he knows he's going to lose. He has no desire to fight Anakin again, I would imagine,
Right.
and also knows he would just lose. So I understand why he ran. It just was a little funny and corny. But at the end of the day, I mean, we saw Darth Vader prove without a shadow of a doubt right now he's stronger. And the only way I can justify in my mind that the fight ended the way it ended, because the droid came and picked up Obi-Wan after he was burned. And I'm thinking Darth could have literally just grabbed the droid with force. But I think Darth, I never know whether to call him to Anakin or Darth Vader, whatever. I think Darth Vader at this point knows he's stronger than Obi-Wan and could have killed him. But that's not good enough for him. He wants, and he was like playing with his food.
Right.
He was like, he knew he could have killed Obi-Wan. And there's a part of me that thinks I think he wants to let Obi-Wan kind of like get back a little bit. Because it's not fun to just kill, is something that's already dead, essentially, right? Like Obi-Wan's got nothing. He could have killed him, would have meant nothing. And somebody brought up how when they fight each other in, what is it, 5? No, 4. It's the first one, New Hope, and Obi-Wan dies, right? He says, the last time we met, you were the master. And I was like, whatever.
Merely
now I'm the master, right? So, and somebody, and this could just be, whatever, but I like the idea. It's like, okay, so I feel like at this point, if I were to predict, and this is my hope, is that at this point, Obi-Wan's going to do that speech that you want him to give. He's going to have this awakening where he's gonna he's gonna let it all out, but then he's gonna get back in touch with the Force. He's gonna hook up with Qui-Gon. It's not like he's gonna go on some like training thing, but he's gonna get back into it. Yeah, it's not like a Rocky exactly. But I think he's gonna he's gonna get back in touch a little bit, and I think then possibly then there's another little bit more of a confrontation between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader that's a little bit more balanced. That's kind of my hope, but we'll see. So that's kind of my take, and then hopefully kind of prediction in where we're going. But I'm not sure. What were your thoughts on the whole, seeing them together for the first time? What did you think? Also, did you enjoy seeing Darth be as vicious as I thought? Right? Like, do you think it's cool that he's like snapping people's necks and doing all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it was very cool that they showed him just like snap that kid's neck. That was
Brutal.
satisfying. It was just like,
Yeah.
ooh, a little brutal for Disney. God, for God's sakes, we've seen way worse. But yeah, no, it was good. I liked that. I liked seeing his the viciousness of Vader. That was really cool. It was a little bit of a jarring feeling to me, and I can't explain why.
Okay.
When we were seeing Vader so quickly, and it almost felt like it almost felt a little abrupt. It felt a little jarring to me that he just was in this scene in this episode so quickly. I feel like with someone like Darth Vader, sometimes I almost feel like with a character as iconic as him, I almost think less is more. I feel like it's a little bit better for me when we don't see him as much and we leave a little bit more up to the imagination. And I get it, that's not what the fans want, and that's we're dealing with Disney here. Like, I just when we saw him in his castle speaking to, Riva over the, the hologram, and he's, like, sitting in on his throne, and then like, we see him, like, hang up the call, and he just, like, walks to the window. I'm just, like, sometimes thinking, like, what the fuck does he do in his spare time? What a ridiculous character. Like, I don't know. What does he just stand there and stare out the
No,
window
dude, he
7
sits in
hours a
his
day?
bathtub
I
or whatever and, tries to,
Right.
like, meditate or something.
Sometimes right. Sometimes with Vader for me, like, the more I get of him, like, not doing just kinda sitting around, like, the more I think he's a little ridiculous. I don't know. But
I
yes, no,
mean,
it
he
was
is a
great.
ridiculous character when you think of it, just his suit and everything. Like,
I
it's so
like
crazy,
I
but yeah.
I think there was more of a charm to him in the original movies when you leave it up to the imagination, like what this guy is capable of. I think Rogue One did it perfectly and used him perfectly when they just inserted him into scenes like to harass the Imperial officers when he needed to and get them in line, and then he came at the end for that big scene, and it really just gave you all of his potential in that little scene at the end of Rogue One. That's fine. But I don't know. It's tough. It's tough for me. Like where I guess I'm coming from is it's not really as big of a reveal to see Vader in 2022 because the big return for Vader was in Rogue One. I get a completely different story, but like they've already used that trick already where it's like here he is, the return of Darth Vader in the modern age. Like we did get that already. And I'm not saying you can't use him again, but I feel like just the more they give us of him, like I do not want a spin-off show of Darth Vader. I'm sorry. I don't want to just I don't know. Maybe I'm sure there's a way you could do it good. Again, I'm not saying it was good to see, it was cool to see him go into the village. I don't have a problem with any of that, and they had their confrontation. To me, it's just like I don't know, just a little jarring to me to see him like they were doing that so quickly in the third episode. I guess it was a little jarring, not a bad thing in any way to me. It was just a little weird.
It was a
Just to
shock to
like
me
oh
for sure.
it
Yeah,
was
I
like, "Oh,
wasn't
shit.
expecting
Oh
it that
oh, they're
soon.
okay, we're gonna have him confront Vader so quickly."
There he is. Yep.
And and then when it was to the point where when Obi-Wan was out in the field and or out in those little, like, sand piles in that lot, and Darth Vader shows up right next to him and to confront him, I almost thought Obi-Wan was having a vision. Like, I didn't even
I
think
thought that for a split second too. Yep. Yep.
I was like, "Wait, oh, they're doing this right now? They're gonna do it right now." I was like, "Oh, okay. Sure, why not?" But then, yeah, oh my god, it was very awkward. It was bizarre. Again, I was a little appalled at this direction. I feel like there's a way you could have shot that scene so differently. I was laughing at how much Obi-Wan was just like, "All right, see ya," and then he'd kind of like just jog away off screen, and like it's like and it's not like Vader didn't have intentions of trying to fuck him up and just like, letting him. He wasn't just playing cat and mouse. No, he eventually grabs him with the force and goes, "Listen, motherfucker." Like I don't know, like he could have done that at any point. I don't
Well,
it
that's
was
why in
just
my head
off.
the only way to justify it is he was like
He was
he finally
toying
found
with
him
him.
and he was toying with him and he very quickly realized, right? It's like I've seen my cat catch a rabbit before. And as soon as my cat catches the rabbit, he brings it back and then he lets it go and he lets it run away and then he catches it again and he brings it like that's literally what Darth Vader was doing and he very quickly
Right.
and once again I'm trying to justify it in my head because I agree
Right.
with you that
Right.
it was a little awkward and weird. It's like he could literally end him, and I couldn't help but just think, I guess he just realizes he must realize he's so much stronger. He could kill this guy at any time. So at this point, he's just having fun, and he's just like, I'm just gonna keep messing with this guy until I'm done because he literally ruined my life. He cut off my legs. I burnt alive. He thought he killed me, so I'm gonna make him as miserable as possible. And killing him right now will not do justice to that. So I'm gonna try to make him burn alive. I'm gonna let him just suffer, and then I'll catch him again eventually, and I'll keep just messing with him. That's in my mind, but I mean, I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. It was a little weird. It was also quite honestly sad to me
Right,
But just
and I'm
from a
not
story
saying
standpoint, to see how pathetic Obi-Wan was fighting, because we saw that fight in episode 3, which is my favorite fight of all time of any lightsaber fights, Obi-Wan versus Anakin, and to see that go to that, I was like, man, this is sad. This is sad. He's got nothing. He's done. So
right. It's not that I was questioning the the actions of Vader in that scene. I was just kind of questioning the actions of Obi-Wan. I'm like, are you like trying to get away and buy yourself some time? Like he's right there. It was to me it was so much more distracting and embarrassing to me on just a directing level. Like you could have staged that scene so differently where that little game of cat and mouse made sense. Position them further away from each other. Have Obi-Wan like up on a ledge on the high ground, like far away, like 50 feet away or something, you know? And then he like jumps like just that would have made it a little less distracting. I mean, it was comically distracting. I'm just like it just appalls me. It's been appalling me in the show that you have all the money in the world to hire the most talented people, and this is what you how you direct it. I cannot believe someone okayed that in an editing room. Like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni like approved that crap. So yeah, again, it was getting to the point where it was a little distracting for me. Again, it's not ruining anything for me, but I just had to point that out. So yeah, and again, between that and like just the chase scene, I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. So there was that. Yeah, but no, but honestly though, I thought, yeah, I think you're right though with your reasoning and what Vader was, just kind of toying with him. That's cool. That's it wasn't completely like insane, take me out of it. But what I did think when he did start the fire and lower Obi-Wan into the fire, I thought that was a cool set piece. But they actually, to me, it was just again, they actually clashed lightsabers and like had a little bit of a duel, and it was just kind of like I almost, and that's to me why I almost wish they almost didn't. They could have somehow wrote it to where they had a confrontation, but where they couldn't actually fight. Like I'm more interested in seeing them like almost just talking and not fighting. If you're gonna fight, go big. Like you gotta go big.
But yeah, I mean, Obi-Wan can't go big at this point. It
Right,
wouldn't make sense
exactly.
because he's so weak. So it's interesting. I totally understand your perspective too, and I kind of agree. It's like I enjoyed more than the fight because I knew the fight wasn't going to be what we wanted because we've
Right.
seen Jedi's in their prime. Right, we're never going to see that again, and that's what makes me sad, honestly. And yeah, like we've seen episodes 2 and 3, Jedi's at their prime. I don't know if we're ever going to get anything like that again because all the other stories take place when the Jedi have like fallen and there's not as many around. The training's not the same, whatever. So I knew that fight. So I agree with you in that I care more at this point too about seeing them talk. I enjoyed watching the like back and forth of just like what have you become and that kind of stuff. What I took away from that, I was excited to see Vader this early only because I was concerned that the big climax and catch was just going to be Obi-Wan and Darth Vader like meeting. And
True.
that's like so predictable to me. Like,
But it's
okay,
like,
cool.
but they've done that now.
So we've done that now. So other either the show is going to get much worse and nothing else interesting is going to happen, which would suck, obviously, or there's more cool things that are down the road. Like we haven't hit the climax of the show, which is what I hope. That would be normal. You shouldn't hit the climax until like episode 5, something like that, right? And so the fact that we've already gotten that out of the way kind of opens the door. Like, okay, cool. They did it, right? We saw a little clash. Was the lightsaber battle cool at all? Not at all. You know what else is so stupid? Probably didn't bother anyone else in the world. Why were there sparks? Did you notice when the lightsabers hit, there were sparks? Why? I've never seen sparks when lightsabers hit. And I saw one person explain like, oh, Obi-Wan hasn't been taking care of his lightsaber. It looked fine to me. So why are we seeing sparks when they hit together? So stupid, probably bothered nobody else. And I was like, that's annoying, whatever. But
they do. Yeah, they break those rules all the time. I mean, one thing that I thought to just branch off of that, one thing that I thought was cool about the lightsabers that they don't see, like they do certain things in certain shows. I think this comes down to like a directing and a post-production type thing. When they ignite in this show, when they were igniting the lightsabers in the dark, the lightsaber was like literally a flashlight. Like it illuminated the blue all on
Yes.
Obi-Wan's face. I feel like sometimes when lightsabers are ignited in the dark, that's not always the case. Like, but so there's like inconsistencies with that sometimes, and that it doesn't bother me that much, but
Okay.
I get what you mean. No, but I get what you mean.
And
For
at
sure.
the end of the day, it really
And
it doesn't.
there's
I'm not like
someone,
it's not
there's
taking
some
away from the
nerd
show,
out there that's going to
yeah.
explain away this to you, like, well, actually, Josh,
Yeah.
like.
But yeah, honestly, I'm excited that we saw it as soon as we did, because it's like, okay, we kind of like got that out of the way now. Like everybody was expecting it once we knew Darth Vader was going to be in the show and Hayden was going to be in the show. So it's like, okay, where do we go from there? So what I'm nervous most about at this point is if there's only 3 episodes left, I just don't know how we have a conclusion, because I'm not even really sure what we're concluding. Are we concluding Leia and Obi-Wan's journey and he's just going to get her back home? Are we concluding Obi-Wan's PTSD and he's going to somehow get closure like, do you know what I mean? Like, what are your thoughts? Like, where are we going to go in the next 3 episodes? I'm kind of like, that's all that I'm nervous about at this point.
So I have an interesting theory where it's gonna go, specifically just based on what we saw in the last episode. But I do want to go back to like a couple things that I missed just real quick after this. But I'll
Sure.
give. So yeah, I don't know. I almost would want Leia to be returned home before the show ends. I almost don't want that. I want them to get that out of the way and then focus on. I just want to focus on Obi-Wan a little bit. Again, I'm enjoying it. If they don't, that's fine. Maybe that'll just be the conclusion of the adventure, is that Obi-Wan returns Leia home, but more importantly, like has some sort of development within himself and finds himself again in the Force, and that's what you want. And like, this is not hard shit. Like, if you were the showrunners of Star Wars, you should know this. This should not be tough. I don't know. That's just me. But yeah, so there's that. I actually really thought maybe, and this is a weird fucking prediction, but I just have this weird theory that,
because the weirder it is,
be...
if you're right, bro, it's gonna be amazing. So give it to me.
So there's always been like this weird thing that people have talked about, especially with this show coming back. This has been a weird observation that people have been saying. I'm gonna go really weird with this, kind of, I think, but when the original actor for Obi-Wan Kenobi, Alec Guinness, is a very Obi-Wan, you can definitely believe that Ewan McGregor would age into that old man, right? Like they do look similar. Like I could believe that Ewan McGregor would become Alec Guinness from A New Hope. Totally believe that. He sounds like him. Ewan McGregor studied him. They got that spot on. But there's always been this kind of observation that, so this show is 10 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
It's 9 years before A New Hope.
A New Hope, correct.
And people have always said, Obi-Wan ages that much in 19 years, or he ages that much in 9 years. So like he has to go from Ewan McGregor to Alec Guinness in 9. He has to go from like 59 to like 79 in like 9 years. I guess it's not that big of a stretch. I don't think it's that big of a stretch, but that's always been like something on people's minds. Like he aged big time in those 9 years. I had this really interesting thought when I saw Vader lowering Obi-Wan into the fire. I said, what if that almost is kind of like the same thing that happened with the Emperor in episode 3, where his skin gets a little deformed? What if we see Obi-Wan in like a scene in the beginning of the next episode where his hair is like turned more white and he looks more like Alec Guinness? Like we see that physical transformation. He looks, maybe that sounds fucking ridiculous, but
yeah, I've seen people complain. I've heard people also talk about, but I've heard people talk about Leia too, right? She's going to go from 10 to 18 or 19, and Leia does not look 18 or 19 in A New Hope. She looks mid-20s,
No,
maybe
right.
early 30s, honestly. Like, how old was
No, it's not a big stretch.
so
You're
it's just,
right.
yeah, once again, it's just like, all right, we're talking about movies that were made 40 years apart. It's like we got to just do our best here to go with what we've
I
got. We've
was
got this
like,
character who's supposed to be 10, and then she's gonna in 9 years look like Carrie Fisher or whatever her name is, and then we've got Ewan McGregor looking like Alex Guinness. Honestly, what I've seen some memes on the internet. It's funny, and people will show pictures of presidents at the start of their presidency, and then like 8 years later, because as being like such a stressful job, they age dramatically in those 8
no,
years,
that's
right?
100% true.
So maybe
No, and
I don't
that's
know.
it's
Maybe
never
we see what ages Obi-Wan so much. Maybe he goes through another big trauma. I don't know, but probably not.
It's not that I want that to happen. It was just this weird theory. I was like, oh, that would be fucking weird if like by the end he like looks like they do a reveal where he like looks more like Alec Guinness just in some certain ways. Like his hair is a tad more white or something. You start to see that physical
Yeah,
transformation into the wiser older man. But no, it was as I say it, it sounds stupid. But
yeah,
um when but I guess I was just trying to figure out like my brain is trying to think, okay, what is the purpose of this? Vader set the thing on fire and was like, you are going to experience what I did. They could have wrote something in where he didn't actually lower him into the fire. Like, I didn't think he was actually going to hit the flames. He gets burned alive like that child in Game of Thrones for a hot minute there. I
yep,
was like, oh my God, like they actually, like he's not supposed to die. They actually burned his living body. That's some serious damage. So that was just a strong choice. I feel like you could have gotten the same effect if they just teased that that was what Vader was going to do, and then maybe Obi-Wan got rescued right before he actually touched the flames. So I'm just thinking there must be a purpose as to why they had him hit the fire and injured him that much because he's already not strong. He's already like, why would you need to injure Obi-Wan at this point?
well, I'm
I get to
hoping
make
it's
him
for the
suffer.
reason that you said earlier, which is like this is like the breaking point now. He knows Anakin's alive. He knows he's this awful person now, Darth Vader. He now went through this traumatic thing where he almost got burnt alive. So hopefully this like however you want to phrase it, wakes him up, wakes Obi-Wan up, or like it's his breaking point where now he's like, he's gonna like hopefully just release it. He's gonna let it all out. He's gonna be like, I have been in hiding for the last 10 years. I was devoted to this Jedi cause, and look what it's caused me. My best friend just tried to burn me alive. What has my life been? So I never thought about it like that, but yeah, I mean, you're right. There must have been a point. Um, and my brain doesn't think that far. What I thought when I saw that scene, I went, "Wow, Anakin went up I mean, he went up like in flames so quickly, like a pile of hay." And Obi-Wan's over here in for minutes, and he's like, his arm's a little burnt. So something's. I don't know how these fires work. Maybe Mustafar or whatever is just the lava fires just hits way different. But freaking Anakin went up in flames in 10 seconds, whole body burned. Obi-Wan was in there for a minute, bro. I hate you. And then Obi-Wan's in there, dude, and he's coming out. I was like, I think he had some burns on his arm when the lady was like talking to him. I was like, he seems like he's all right, because I was also that was definitely a shocking thing. I didn't mind it, but it was definitely, yeah. I wonder what the purpose of it is now. Now I'm thinking
Right.
about it. I don't
That's where
know.
my mind went. There was a writing choice that was we need to, because again, you could have gotten the same effect even if Anakin just told him that's was what was his intentions, and you're like, oh
Mm,
shit, and then he gets saved right away, but right before he hits the flames. There was a I just feel like there was had to have been a narrative purpose as to why they had to lower him into flames. That's a pretty strong choice. But yeah, no, so it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. Like I said, I think we're getting a lot of good moments out of his interactions with Leia. I'm very happy with that. I'm having fun with their adventure with the old hero going on the adventure with the young child. We've seen that a million times and it works for a reason. And they're using it to their advantage. I feel like they haven't been going so hard on the emotional beats as they could be. What more of what I'd want to see. So yeah, I'm also really wondering the big pull of this whole series was, or another one was Hayden Christensen's back as Darth Vader. I was under the impression, and I almost kind of hope this, that I thought we were going to see flashbacks.
I think I'm hoping that we're going to get scenes where he talks to Darth and his helmet is off. So it's
Oh,
no
wouldn't that be
longer.
weird?
I mean, we've already seen him. I mean, he's ugly, right? He's not going to look good. He's not going to look like Hayden,
Right.
but at least
Oh,
then we can hear Hayden, right? Because you hear James Earl Jones, you don't think Anakin. You think this
right.
is Darth Vader, right? It's just like a different person. Where if his helmet comes off and it's Hayden's voice coming out, that's going to feel like Anakin, and I think that would hit Obi-Wan different. And I think if we got something like that, that would be cool. Because, like, I mean, other than if Hayden's just in the suit, I will be a little disappointed if we don't hear him. If we heard him, but like still like in the suit, but because his like mask is up or something, I think, could you imagine like the next time if they do meet again, we're guessing, but if they do meet again, to like hit Obi-Wan even harder, he takes his mask off and he's look what I've become, right? Like we've already kind of had that line, but it's like, look what you've done to me, look what I've become. I mean, how hard is that going to hit Obi-Wan to literally see hairless, white, scarred Anakin? I think that could be a crazy scene. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for, because other than that, I don't know. Because if they show us flashbacks, they have to show us flashbacks of the prequel. Like they can't show us nowadays Hayden. You know what I mean? How could they do that?
That's a very good point. I mean, here's what, but yeah, to me, the hyping up, no, that is a very good point. Hayden Christensen does look like he's aged quite a bit.
Yes.
If I'm Lucasfilm and this is my, like, what I would do is I don't know if I would like a scene like that what you described. Like, to me, it's breaking the veil of like, I don't want to hear Hayden Christensen's voice in the suit. I don't want to hear him behind them. Like, to me, it's almost like Anakin's dead. I don't want to make the physical connection and hear his voice coming out of that suit. I just don't
That's crazy
know.
to me because I want to hear that so bad. Like I
really
want
okay.
that.
Maybe there's
Yeah.
a way. Maybe there's a way they do it good. To me, I don't. What would be so much more satisfying to me
Yeah, let's hear it.
is because when you watch the prequels, I hate that we are like so passionate about this. Like I hate being this serious, but
I love it.
when you watch the prequels, and this is something I've thought about for so long, between all three of those movies, Anakin and Obi-Wan hate each other the entire series.
In the
When you
prequel?
look in the prequel, all three prequel movies,
They don't hate you. What do you mean? Be more
when they're in the
specific.
okay, so when you try to find scenes and shots of them just enjoying each other's company, obviously you're really not going to find any in episode 1 because they just met, you know what I mean? Like that's
Sure.
really all it is. In episode 2, whenever like I see montages of Star Wars from the prequels, right? And you're trying to Anakin and Obi-Wan are supposed to be like these fun buddy cops, right? Like they're supposed to, yeah, they bicker at the end, but like they're supposed to be like a fun, enjoy each other's company. They always showed that in the animated shows. In the Clone Wars, that's where they developed that relationship, as they are this dream team of two buddy cop Jedis that are just by to. In the prequels, there are almost no scenes where they actually enjoy each other's company. You get the opening of Attack of the Clones when, Anakin's grown up now. He's 10 years older. He's, a Jedi Padawan in training, but he's got his powers, he's a trained Jedi. The introduction to Obi-Wan and Anakin in that movie is them in an elevator as they're going up to meet Padme. And they share a little back and forth of a story where, he's like, I saved you that time, Master. And he goes, and it was that. And they like have a laugh together. Right. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember. How's that not enjoying each other's companies?
No, I'm saying that is the only scene.
Okay.
Right
No.
when we're introduced to
No.
And then they go into Padme's room and immediately Anakin fucks off and is like, what? Fuck you. Like, he's like, fuck you, Obi-Wan. He's like, I'm going to protect the princess. And for the rest of the series, but I'm saying maybe you got like little bits of it in the beginning of like Revenge of the Sith when they're fighting Grievous, like but you never really like the movies never really gave us Obi-Wan and Anakin, like, just felt like they really enjoyed or they felt that brotherly connection. What Star Wars has always done in the past they've always wrote it in the animated shows. That's why I always said Anakin Skywalker is a completely different character in the animated shows during the Clone Wars than he was in the movies. They foster that relationship and they make their relationship develop in the Clone Wars in between those 3 years because the movies did it so piss poorly. Like, there's really no scenes where they don't hate each other's fucking guts. And so, but where I was going with that was I would just love if episode 4 of Kenobi was the entire episode was a flashback to Anakin and Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars. Hayden Christensen comes out, he's a Jedi again, he's playing Anakin. They de-age him with de-aging technology. They take a couple of years off of him. You know, they've done that. They've done that now a million times. But we get to experience Anakin and Obi-Wan like we've never really seen them before in live action. Like maybe they're in a battle or like they have like a cool exchange where they reference something. It's like, you know, Master, one of these days you're going to be the death of me or some shit like that. Or, you know, or like they have like a really heartfelt moment in a battle or something. And maybe we even do another reveal. We get live action young Ahsoka because Ahsoka was a very big character that they wrote in, they wrote in after the fact. I just would love, like, to me, that would be a great interaction. And then they have like a good exchange about them that gets referenced at the end of the show. I don't know.
I need to chime in. So
go ahead.
I feel like that scene that you described, in my opinion, is so unnecessary. I've never seen the Clone Wars. I've never seen any of the animated stuff. I feel like I don't need to be told any more about I know there's a bond. I know there's a relationship, right? Did we see Anakin, Obi-Wan in Modern Family holding hands, frolicking through the flowers together? No, we did not. But I view their relationship as brothers, just like Obi-Wan's at the set, but more of like brother in arms. They're Jedis, which is what? They're like in the military, right? So like they didn't get to like sit at home and watch TV together. They were fighting Count Dooku together while one of them lost their arms. One of them Anakin was carrying Obi-Wan on his back out of a falling ship as the Emperor was like, no, leave him. And he's like, no, I'm not going to leave him. So it's like, no, we didn't get to experience what you're saying, which is like the buddy of it, but like they've been through so much and we've seen it all. And that's where that like connection comes from, which is why when Obi-Wan thought he killed him at the end of episode 3, he was like, you were my brother. Like they've been through so much. So, I mean, I'm not against seeing that scene, but if their intention is to show us, you know, oh, they've got this bond and I know they have a bond. If you want to show me a cool scene where they're like enjoying each other's company, because no, I mean, we don't see them quote enjoying each other's company, but I know they used to love each other because they had been through hell. They had been through war. They'd been through battles. They had saved each other's lives so many times. And that's where that bond and that brotherly connection comes from. So I'm not against seeing that scene, but if they don't do it right, I would be left thinking, why did they just show me that? I know that they like used to be friends and buddies. Like I don't need to see them, you know, doing that, whatever that is. Like I'm sure at certain points they were able to enjoy each other's companies, but how much do I care? I care more about all the crazy stuff that they've been through, the battles, the wars, and all that. So that's kind of where I stand with that. But I know you're right in the sense too, where if they don't nail it right, as far as if they do the scene that I have in my mind with Anakin talking, if it's not done, I mean, that's anything though. So I don't know. My prediction and my hope is that a scene like that happens. We'll see. And we'll see if they do any kind of flashbacks. I could see them doing both, quite honestly. I just hope whichever one they do it well, they do it right, they do it justice. But I just hope, honestly, if we don't get either of what me or you said, then I'll be upset. I want to see or hear Hayden's voice because that's Anakin to me. And what was the point of having anybody could have walked in the suit? You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Like,
I was like, that's probably not
anybody
even
can be in the
that's
suit. We
probably
don't
not even
care.
Hayden Christensen half the time. It's just
Yeah, so
they were really hyping up the idea that Hayden Christensen was back, and I know we saw him in a vision in the field. I just was trying to think, I was like, how are they going to use him? How else with flashbacks? And again, everyone in Star Wars, like every fan just wants different shit, and that's fine. Like, I
yeah,
don't care. And I totally get it. Like, but for me, I've always felt like we were always told that these guys were these really close, they were brothers here, you're like a father to me. I guess I just want like a character moment between, like I want a scene, like I could do a whole episode of just them together or something in I don't know. Again, that's just me. I feel like we never really got a lot of character moments between them enjoying each other, like, but that's just me, like, but I get it. No, I get it. Everyone just wants the different things.
yeah.
And that's fine, like, yeah, so
I'm
we'll
excited
see
though,
where it
man.
goes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I'm
episode
enjoying.
this next
It's not
episode.
awful.
Yeah, and to see how Obi-Wan responds to what just happened, because that was, I mean, he watched Anakin do what he just did to all those people. He was just put in a fire. He's now like burned alive. He's finally seen, Anakin again for the first time in forever. To see how he responds to this, I'm so excited. I hope they do that well too. Like if he's still like just sad, depressed, PTSD Obi-Wan, I'll be a little disappointed. This needs to do something to change his character.
I want to hear his therapy session. That's what
yes, yes, I agree. I'm with you.
So there was a couple just real quick things I just wanted to bring up that I think we missed. I did like the idea of the Underground Railroad, of like how they escaped when Ben met Vader. I thought that was cool. Don't know why.
Oh, like the other Jedis.
Yeah, that escape.
Yes.
I thought that was cool. Help
Yeah,
other Jedi. I thought that was a really cool concept. Like that. That was like just a compliment I had before I get into some more complaints.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the incompetence of the bad guys in these shows. We've went through, between the Inquisitors just letting that Jedi in the first episode fucking run off, between the bad guys and that god-awful, the worst chase scene ever filmed with that forest chase. With basically like when Obi-Wan got away from Reva in the first, when she said, "Oh, like Anakin's alive," like
you
even
can't
that was a little
Obi-Wan. Yeah.
Like all of these escapes were so pathetic to me. And then by the way, and I got to say this too, when they're on the truck in episode 3 on the back of the truck with the stormtroopers, all I kept thinking in my mind was, we have a Jedi loose, and they're looking for Obi-Wan. And even in the first 2 episodes, when like, Reva, she's obsessed with finding Obi-Wan, right? Do they not have photography? Do you not have a wanted poster of Obi-Wan's face somewhere?
Do we not know what a Jedi robe looks like? He literally puts up his robe hood to hide from the stormtroopers. I'm like, you could not look more like a Jedi right now. And they're like,
not even that. All you do is you put up around Tatooine wanted posters. You have pictures. You know what Obi-Wan looks like. I can't believe that, like I was actually a little shocked to see Obi-Wan just freely walking around Mos Espa. I'm like,
wait, which planet was that? Mos Espa.
It's the city on Tatooine. There's Mos Espa and there's Mos Eisley. They're the city names. So
yeah,
I was like, and then when Reva is having that confrontation with Owen, and like they're like, the Jedi is here, I feel it. I'm like, he's right there. He's 2 feet away from you. Like he's right there, hiding in a barn. You fuckers. Like they didn't even look like he was that far away.
So to be fair, it seems like the Force always allows them to know when they're near, but it's not like a GPS that shows them exact. Right? In all of these movies, we've always heard, "I feel he's here." Right? Like
the Force
Darth
is such
Vader.
A writing.
Yeah, I mean, Darth Vader
knew
Obi-Wan was in that town, but he didn't just go like, he's in that building behind that door. Like, I mean, we're trying to explain a mystical force that is not real, right? So, what's the point? But
the Force bores me. You can just, and I don't get mad. I don't get mad at any of like, I didn't get mad when Luke like teleported himself. I don't care because the thing with the Force is they can just write whatever they want to be true.
It's true.
Like they can
So
just be like,
true.
"Oh, this is a Force power." Oh, he was so, and then like, you'll watch all the YouTube videos of the nerds explaining it. Well, he was just so strong in the Force, or he was just, he could feel his energy. Like the Force is a
it.
writing crutch. It's a
It
writing
really
crutch.
is.
It's
You can do
stupid,
whatever they
which I
want.
don't care, and that's fine. It's part of the lore. But like, I'm not going to get mad when they introduce a new Force. Like, the Force just bores me so much. If they use it in a cool way, that's all I care about.
Sure.
But so anyway, yeah, so that was a thing. It was like when he was sitting on that truck and they're like, "We have a Jedi loose." Like, you don't have a picture of what this guy looks like. You know that they're looking for. I mean, just the
they only have
incompetence.
holograms, no pictures, I guess.
These escapes were insane. But the one thing that was an issue, that was a big plot hole that I've heard fans talk about, and I actually was thinking about this, and I want to get your thoughts on it. And I'm sure someone's explaining away, but it was actually a pretty big plot point. When Reva reveals to Obi-Wan that Anakin is alive,
Yes.
Darth Vader is alive.
Yes.
So it was always a question, like, I was like, oh, yeah, no, I guess Obi-Wan didn't really know whether or not Anakin survived. It's not like Darth Vader. He knew his name was Darth Vader. He knew his name was changed to Darth Vader at that point. He knew Anakin had become Darth Vader in episode 3. So if he hears Darth Vader, he knows it's Anakin. I guess there's not like an Imperial newspaper like showing you the new recruits, like, and
Yes.
the new, like, and the new like
new hire in the Imperial Darth Vader promoted.
Meet Darth Vader in the newsletter. But no, so yeah,
little bio about him. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy long walks on the beach, and well, actually, I don't because I hate sand, but I hate sand.
So good.
But yeah, so that made sense to me, and I was like, okay, that's a cool plot point. Like, yeah, I guess because I never knew that. It was always kind of a question, like, does he know? Like, does he sense with the Force that Anakin's still alive? Like, you don't know that. You never really knew. For all we know, that he could have known that Darth Vader survived, and that would have been fine. But yeah, it was a reveal, and it was used as an emotional tool, and I like that. Issue is that everyone was bringing up. People in the Empire have encountered Darth Vader. They knew Darth Vader. Maybe he was like left in the shadows a little bit more. No one should have known, but the Emperor, Obi-Wan, and Yoda, and maybe like Bail Organa, that Anakin Skywalker was Darth Vader. Like, no one should have known that. Reva should not have known that. That was a big. She was like, Anakin is alive. How did she know? It doesn't bother me. I'm not losing any sleep over it, but that was just like a weird. What I actually was a little bit more annoyed at, and this is just like some lore nitpicks, like that didn't bother me as much. What bothered me way more was when the whole plot about Reva kidnapping Leia, right? She said, it was very bizarre. Like, they talk this stuff away so quickly. She goes, we are going to capture Senator Organa's daughter in order to lure Obi-Wan out to us, right?
Yep.
How so why does she think that stealing this Imperial senator's daughter would lure out Obi-Wan?
I mean, she literally explained that in the show. She said that she like saw something in the Jedi archive that there was a connection between Obi-Wan and Leia's uncle or Leia's father or whoever Owen, not Owen, whatever his name is. I can't Bail, whatever. Organa. Yeah. And so she said that she found something. Can't remember if it was the Jedi archives or something else, but she did say in the show she found a connection between Obi-Wan and Leia's, father figure. So that's why she took that. So that explanation I'm fine with. To touch quickly on Reva, the
whatever
third
her
sister.
name is, Reva,
the third sister, her knowing Anakin. I don't have an answer to that. I'm also not losing sleep. I've heard two things. I've heard either we might find out later how she knows. She read
probably.
She read clearly she's pretty strong with the Force herself, and she did read that fake Jedi's mind to find out where Obi-Wan and Leia were going. So some people have said maybe she read Darth Vader's mind. I find that probably not likely, especially since Darth himself is so strong and probably wouldn't allow something like that to happen. I don't know. If we find out, awesome. If we don't, I don't really care. I didn't really know that it was a big secret, that nobody knew that Anakin is Darth Vader. It makes sense now that I think about it, that everybody just knows him as Darth Vader. They didn't know he was Anakin Skywalker. But I didn't know before looking on the internet after everybody was freaking out about it. Like, how does she know? I was like, oh, I thought maybe just some people knew. Like, it just happened.
Maybe.
So
Who knows? Who
maybe he
cares?
goes, hey, some people call me Anakin, some people call me Darth Vader. You know, Darth, I prefer Darth, but you know.
Oh wait, that's my
I
old
don't know.
business card.
Like I don't really care too much, but I can understand if people are more involved in the lore and they're like, nobody's supposed to know he's Darth Vader, then okay, maybe they'll give us an explanation. I don't know. I don't personally, I guess you phrased it best. I'm not losing sleep over it. It doesn't personally bother me too much. So we'll see.
It was funny. It was just what Reva said was her justification was, oh, Obi-Wan and Bail Organa fought very closely together in the Clone Wars. They were very good friends or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I was like, well, not really. Like, they weren't like best friends. I was
yeah,
like,
they didn't talk too much.
I was like, wait a minute. To me, in my mind, I did like this rewrite in my mind where I was like, Raya thinking like, I need to get someone that Obi-Wan was very close with. I need to get someone that he like, would come after and someone he would save. And you just cut to her like kidnapping somewhere out on Naboo, Jar Jar Binks.
Oh my god,
like,
no.
I want to see. Okay, by the way, I'm sorry. I want to see Jar Jar. I want to see a Gungan again. They don't have the balls to show Gungans again. I want to see.
Why would they, dude?
I know. I'm in the minority, but
Star Wars Revolt.
But yeah, so yeah, can't wait to see where it goes. We've been going for
excited.
a while. Yeah, I guess the last thing we will briefly just touch on. Now, Star Wars is actually the worst franchise in the world, and I hate it so much as we've just talked about it. So, yeah, Moses, I think that's how you say the actress's name, Moses Ingram, the girl who plays Reva, the new.
I promise
Inquisitor.
we'll get her name right eventually.
I don't care. The angry Inquisitor woman. She was receiving like a lot of racial like complaints online.
I haven't seen them. As soon as I heard somebody even say, I'm like, what are we doing, guys? Why? How are we still here?
They were calling her a diversity hire, and it was just so. Imagine caring so much about this stuff. Like I just can't. The Jedi, the Star Wars fan base, like just. I can't even like this is the worst like just incel. I was about to like do a January 6th and like riot outside of Star Wars Celebration. Like I can't stand any of these people. And you know what the thing that like just drives, so they did the same thing that they did to Rey, the actress Daisy Ridley. They did the same thing to Rose Tico. She was getting death threats. I can't stand any of it. And then I can't stand the response from Disney. Like they are going out there. I mean, in Star Wars Celebration, while all this was going on, and this has been a big problem in Star Wars forever, it's just a bunch of fan of incel man-childs like us. And just they like, well, not like us, but like none of these people have like even seen women before, and they're just so threatened by them. But then it's like you get the cringy like PR response from Disney where at Star Wars Celebration, all the clips are like, they have panels for like women in Star Wars and like feminism and like all these big rah yes queen speeches from like the girl who played Rose Tico and like, oh yes, and you just need to accept women in Star Wars. It's like all this virtue signaling bullshit from Disney. Can we not act like, can we stop pretending when this happens that Disney is like the wokest company ever? This is the same company that will cut out every black person from their movie posters when they ship it off to China. Like I can't. Like, so I just, that's all I want to say. Can we stop? Like, everyone sucks. You all suck. I hate all of this. I hate all of you.
And I said it before. I'll just say it again. I think she is playing that character as great as you can. I think she's doing a great job at playing that character. It's just for me, I don't quite connect or enjoy that character yet. It could change. So if you if you're maybe you're confused as a viewer, maybe you're confused and maybe you think you hate her, I would challenge you and go, I don't think you hate her as an actress. I think you don't like the character. Now, maybe you're just a terrible person and you do hate her as an actress for some reason because her skin color is different than yours. And I would say that you're terrible. That makes you a terrible person, quite honestly. If you're literally just off of that going to say, that's why I don't like her. I've never had a problem with any female Jedis. I think Ahsoka, being an alien female Jedi is awesome. So I just think if you have a complaint, just think first, is the complaint about the character? Because that should be what it is. If for some reason, and now some people had a problem with Hayden Christensen's portrayal of, Anakin in the prequel. I would say I think it was tough for him to do Anakin justice in certain scenes with certain lines because some of the writing about sand was just brutal. And how do you even deliver that well as an actor? So I understand why certain people, but I personally don't think she's doing a bad job. I just don't like the character right now. But regardless, you can't be hating on somebody just because. Yes, just because I can't even
You
understand why
shouldn't
we
have
have.
to say it.
Yeah, just because of the color
I
of their
would,
skin, it's ridiculous.
with closing, I would just like to, I just want to make this clear in public. I think that every Star Wars fan should be put on a watch list. That is my closing argument. You all are just the worst people in the world, and we just, can't stand it. So,
Brutal.
anyway,
All right.
I think that was an episode. We got a bunch of fan questions. They were all from Jason.
Should we do one, or are they like
We'll do a
rapid fire ones?
I'll let you answer Jason's. I'll let you respond real quick to Jason's question with a little
Okay.
lightning round.
Okay.
Um, what did Jason ask? Let's see. Jason, this one's for you, but if anyone's even still listening, this is a long episode. If anyone even got to
Yeah,
the end, so
appreciate it. Thanks for hanging and staying with us.
congratulations. Uh, is Lechonk the best Pokemon ever?
I'm sorry. Can you spell that for me?
Lechonk.
What am I even looking at, Jason? It's a pig. It's a pig. Why is he asking me this? Answer: no. Next.
Okay. What are your thoughts on Bella Delphine being back out of nowhere?
Who is that?
That's the fart girl.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what happened? She's like back at it or something?
I don't know. Maybe now she's selling like her toes.
Oh my god,
Maybe
I don't
she's like
care. I
cutting
wish
off the
I
toes.
could sell my farts for like thousands of dollars because I'd do it, but maybe one day.
Jason, I got a hot take. Jurassic Park won't be as disappointing as The Rise of Skywalker was. True.
We'll see. We'll see about that. All right. Thanks for the
Yeah.
questions, Jason. Appreciate you as always.
All right, everyone. We're gonna call that an episode. Thanks for listening and listen to us bitch about Star Wars. But no Obi-Wan. We'll see where it goes. We'll probably check in. We'll probably go through it at the end. I don't want to go through it every week. We'll see. Maybe we'll just do the last 3 episodes in like 2 weeks from now at the end of the month and check in and go over the finale. But yeah, so thanks for listening, everyone. Starchild, where can the people find you?
Yeah, just go Twitter, Starchild1230. That's where I'm at.
Yep. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Next Round on Me Pod, and thank you very much for listening. I love you all, and follow us on Twitch, Next Round on Me Pod, and subscribe on YouTube. Oh God, I can't say those words
Subscribe
out
to the
loud.
Apple Podcast, the Spotify, wherever you're listening.
Yeah, write a review and say nasty things about me. I can't.
Yes.
I can't do the like and subscribe. All right. Bye, everyone. Good night. I love you.
Take care.
And I should probably stop streaming too. And I can just
Nailed
by
it.
click of a button end this stream. End stream.
Podcast. New